Yo, what up, everybody? I was trying to make a video and it cut off before I was done speaking, and I'm gonna just try to, share my thoughts on, just being out in the nature. See, just in a little park, you know, and it's just being around nature more often, like in this environment, being around the the trees and the grass and more of the natural earth as it is. um, I just had a thought that, as I was about to leave, because I've been here for a minute, you can see I'm kind of like sweating a little bit, but because it's hot out here. But being out in the sun, you know is good for you. It's good for your skin, it's good for your health, it's good for your mood. There's lots of benefits from being out in the sun. But that wasn't the point of this video. What I was trying to say is that there's lots of benefits to being out in nature, but by default, we're already supposed to be out in nature. It's like we've been so disconnected from our natural um, human nature to be out in nature that we think that it's a luxury to be out in nature when we're already supposed to be out in nature. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but for some people, it's like, I don't know why, at least for me, whenever I come out in nature, which I don't feel like I do as often as I should, but because we get so busy and caught up in the everyday struggles of life and responsibilities and whatnot, we forget that we are spiritual beings, and nature is a part of our spirit. Um, it's spoken about in the Bible, and we're compared. God actually compares us to nature itself. He compares us to grass that fades away. He compares us to tree branches that are supposed to bear good fruit. He compares us to flowers that will eventually turn to dust. And he compares us and uses nature as parables uh, throughout the Bible many times for a reason. And when you're out in nature, your mind is just clear. You start to really see things for what they are, and you start to you kind of stop compartmentalizing everything so much, and you kind of just start to not have to um, kind of lie to yourself or trick yourself. It's like I don't know what how to describe what I'm trying to say, but it's like you being out in nature brings you back to your true authentic self, and it's something that in a way makes you realize like the way life should really be. And we shouldn't have to feel like we are constantly bombarded with outside noise, you know, um, all these different things trying to infiltrate our minds and our bodies and our peace. God has given us everything on this earth that we need naturally. We don't need all these man-made things, though they can be beneficial, you know, um, and but my focus is nature, that how much we need it, how much we are actually supposed to be one with nature, because nature is one with us. I don't even want to leave. I feel like I'd rather just stay here in this, you know, area, and this is not in a, I don't mean that in a, in any kind of way that seems like I'm trying to abandon, you know, my responsibilities as a human or not be a part of society. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to make a point that for whoever may understand this, is that there's a reason that you have that feeling that you're more drawn to nature, to be out in the wilderness, to be out in this type of environment, rather than just going back to, you know, being around society as we know it, than just going back to being around a bunch of buildings and cars and the streets and all these things. The further and further you get away from all that, the more at peace you feel. Is that not a coincidence that, in a way, it's like that's God's way of showing us that this is the way things are supposed to be. You're supposed to be one with my creation. We're made in the image of God. We're made in God's image, and when you're out in nature, you really begin to see that, you begin to realize it, you begin to know it, you begin to feel it, and I can feel anxiety dissipating. I can feel depression leaving my body. I can feel pain going away. I can feel my body beginning to heal itself, my mind and my spirit within. I can feel the cells of my body regenerating because I'm out in the sunlight and I'm not around a bunch of chatter and distractions and noise, and I can feel my brain recalibrating itself because it enters a flow state once you're out in nature, because nature by default is the natural flow state as we know it, and it's very difficult to replicate that, inside your everyday 9-to-5 job, or your local businesses, or downtown, or in the city or neighborhoods. You can't really replicate this feeling. You can even hear the distractions trying to come in right now because I'm still close to those distractions. I'm not far enough away to really maybe get the full effect of being in nature, completely secluded away from all the noise and such. But you get the point. This is just a little taste and a little glimpse. Imagine being out here, for I've only been out here for maybe less than an hour or so, and I'm already feeling all these benefits. But imagine if I was out here and I'm literally just sitting here not doing anything. Just sitting here brings healing to your mind and your body and your soul and your spirit. And imagine if you're out here for weeks and days and months or years, completely away from all the noise. Imagine how much you could truly begin to, heal your body from all the traumas and all the damage that's been caused by, people and the things of this world, all the distractions, all the evil, all the corruption, all the toxicity, all the toxins in our bodies, all the distractions that have caused us to stray away from our natural born path, you know, to live um, according to God's ways. You know, if you haven't been out in nature for a while, or if you haven't ever been out, you know, just find a place to go to where you can just sit kind of quietly by yourself. It doesn't even have to be anywhere that far, you know, just in a simple place like this. Like, there's people right over there, but they're not paying attention to me, or they can't even really see me, you know. There's a road and a street over there, you know, in neighborhoods, but just that's just to show you how powerful you really are as a human being, how powerful nature really is. It even begins to speak to you, you know, when you really sit with nature, you begin to connect with it in a unimaginable way, you know, in a spiritual, on every aspect, you know. So I encourage you today to go find somewhere to be in nature and to just sit and feel what you feel, you know. You don't really need the things of this world that you think you do. Sometimes what can bring you the most healing and what can bring you the most clarity in your mind is just simply being out in nature, just sitting here and sitting with your thoughts and your feelings, and you'll start to see how many different things come up. Things you thought you were worried about, you realize they're nothing to worry about in the first place. You'll see things start to pop out. You'll see your thoughts pop out in front of you, and you'll see yourself and see things from a new perspective, from what they really are. You'll start to think about things that you didn't really think about before. You'll start to see everything from another perspective. And again, if you watched this far in the video, congratulations, this video was for you. I doubt barely anyone, if anyone at all, you know, watched this far in the video or even clicked on the video to watch it. But even if it was just one person that needed to hear this, you know, that's why I made this video. This video was for you. And you know, unfortunately, I do have to go, you know, but even though if you may not be able to stay out in nature, you know, 24/7, just getting out there as much as you can, you'll start to see, I guarantee you'll start to see a lot of changes in your life. You'll start to see improvements in your mental health. You'll start to see improvements in your quality of life all around. You'll start to see even just my speech and my whole demeanor has just completely shifted, like a 180. You know, I feel much better right now than I do before I showed up here, and I'm gonna leave feeling much better, because that's what we need. Sometimes you got to get away from all the distractions and the negativity in your life and just clear your mind and release all that stress, you know, release those toxins and that tension in your body. Nature pulls those things out of you. It's like being in a filter or a strainer. All the nature around you, it absorbs that negative energy and it uses it. It transmutes it into growth. It turns it into, you know, plants and leaves and trees, and it feeds it recycles it, you know. Mother Nature is undefeated. You can't beat Mother Nature. No matter how much you try, you could, you know, chop down all the trees, all the grass, you could tear up the whole land and it'll still grow back somehow. It'll still come back through the cracks, you know. That rose will still bloom. on through the crack of that sidewalk. You know, that's how powerful it is. You know, it's just to let you know that life always finds its way, you know, and you can't let the things of this world get you down. You know, you can't allow things to take you off your path that you know God has put you on, and you're here for a reason. You know, if you're watching this video, I just want you to know that Jesus loves you. You know, God bless you, and don't give up. Whatever you're going through, you're gonna get through it. You're gonna make it no matter what. God has a plan for your life, and if you're watching this, I want you to know that you're an amazing human being, and I want you to know that you're a very special person to somebody out there. Even if nobody tells you, you're a very special person, and you matter in this world. Don't ever let nobody tell you differently, and don't ever think differently about that. But until the next video, God bless you guys, and Jesus loves you.